Remember, no tummy shots. I know I said that on Periscope. I don't care.
It's gonna be hard for me.
Let her in. Hurry up. Hey, you're listening to A Vibrant Mix with Tasha, Tamiko, and Fred. I'm your girl Tasha here on WindyCityUnderground.com, your music, your station. We are back, first show of the year, and I'm really excited to be with one of my co-hosts.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
What do you mean, Fred? What are you saying?
No, you said one of your co-hosts, all right? So
Hey,
thank
Fred.
you. I appreciate it.
How do you know I was referring to you?
I just assumed.
That's the mother of all screw-ups,
I'm sorry.
assumptions. How
I'm
you
sorry.
doing,
I'm sorry.
co-host?
Can you hear me?
Barely hear you, bro.
Okay.
Barely hearing you.
You want to make love to the mic? I'm just
that's
saying.
great. That's a visual I didn't really want. But thanks.
How you doing?
I'm well, co-host. How are you?
I'm great.
Yay.
Welcoming in this Sweet 16, 2016.
Sweet 16. I love it. I love it.
It's
That's
going
nice.
to be a sweet year.
I love it. I love it. We got a lot in store for you today. We have some headlines to discuss, and I think Tamiko she's not on 10 today. I think she's going to be on like 278. Because she has a lot to talk about.
Much.
Oh my goodness.
Hey,
And then Fred's question of the week is, jeez. I meant to try to find some statistics, but I'm sure you got something made up of your own. What do you?
I got all kind of statistics in my head.
You got all kind of what?
Statistics.
What? Uh-oh, somebody was paying attention in their English class.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media at A Vibrant Mix. We are broadcasting live on Periscope. Shout out to the intern team. And we have a newbie in with us today. I guess he's deciding if he wants to be on our intern team because I certainly put him to work.
Yes.
Shout out to Jeffrey and Tommy. Hey. And our boy Mark. Let's just kind of jump right in because there's, again, so much to talk about. And then we'll introduce our special guest later on in the show. Tamiko, you didn't take your jacket off. You kind of look like you got the Black Power thing going on.
No, we taking pictures, and I have on my work T-shirt today, and I don't want to.
Okay, I didn't know
Market
because you got the natural flow.
I get that a lot.
I get that. Where's your pick? Power to
It's
the
in my bag. Yeah, I do have.
So do you have to pick with the fist in it or
Yes,
the one
I
that folds?
do. I have the one with the fist and the little steel. It's not the plastic because I break the plastic.
You got the steel teeth and the
I have to
pin.
get the real deal.
That's hilarious.
I have to get the real deal. It's so much has been going on since we last saw each other. It's like I don't even think we could cover it all.
No, probably not.
In one show, we just really can't.
We can't.
And some of this is just like seriously.
It looks like a meme I post on Facebook quite often.
Seriously.
Are you for real?
For real.
So much from our president being accused of having a raw onion in his podium.
Right. Like,
That's so ridiculous.
who needs to make up tears? He should have been crying to me a long time ago the way they treat him in D.C. A man should be crying every time we see him. He should be crying like these
Right. His anger translator, Luther, is losing his
I still
mind.
think in his last month he gonna go off.
I hope he does.
He
You
just
think,
gonna
you
go off.
think he's going to
He
go
just
off?
finna he finna get
It's
ignorant.
gonna be a
He
good old
gonna-
Southside
I can't.
go
Yeah.
off.
Oh.
A Kanye go off.
Right.
Oh,
type
no, I don't think
situation.
he's going to do the Kanye style. You think he's going to do that? Wow.
Yeezy just jumped over Jumpman.
Oh my God. Are you kidding?
No, back to the president.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to let Tamika ride with this because she is on fire.
No, he had a proposal for gun control proposal, and he brought about some different things that need to be done. Background checks, the same old cliches, so to speak, that we always hear about. That gun owners need to have background checks, being more thorough, and then he brought up the home front, and that, of course, just, I guess, thinking of Chicago alone probably brought tears to his eyes, and the number of shootings we had at universities and theaters throughout the year. And you know my stance with this whole gun control thing, because I just still, yes, guns are an issue, but I just don't see it as the true issue.
I'm concerned with a couple of things, and the first thing is, how are you as a responsible gun owner? Because I'm pro-gun, I'm pro-concealed carry. In fact, I prefer, let's do open carry. That's
Right.
me.
Exactly.
So and I ain't the one to bother.
Right.
I don't do that. I'm too little to fight fair. Leave me alone. But as a responsible gun owner, no, I am not opposed to background checks. The issue comes in when you're dealing with criminals.
Right.
Criminals typically don't follow laws. I don't understand why
They don't.
there's all of this hoopla about it.
Right.
So I'm not really sure what the issue
Right,
is.
and that's not going to solve that piece.
No.
That's where the issue is, and that's not going to solve that piece. The responsible people are going to do what they need to do to have their guns registered. I even heard a conversation on the radio this morning where they were speaking of having guns registered like you would register a car.
Okay.
And before you transfer title on that car, you got to transfer title. You would have to transfer title on a gun.
Okay.
And yeah, that would work. That would be very thorough. But do you think the regular Joe Smo in the hood gonna register his gun? No.
He filing out serial numbers. Are you kidding?
Right.
So no, if he's hell bent on doing some illegal business with that gun, he's not carrying it for protection. He's not carrying it because he gets off the train late. He's carrying it because maybe he is carrying it for protection, but he doesn't want to get involved with the registration. He's too young. Whatever
Right.
the situation is, that demographic won't follow that path.
Right. And I keep wondering, what is the hesitancy to try to deal with the true issue? The issue of poverty.
There you go.
The issue of mental health.
That's
The issue of reading scores, low reading scores in schools, all of these things, and parenting. These things play a part in what's going on, but no one wants to touch that. It's like, oh, it's the guns. It's the guns.
it's easy. It's
Right.
easy to scapegoat an aspect of the issue. When I was teaching, I used to say there are a lot of reasons why my classroom dynamics are what they are, and they're too big for me to tackle with just 30 students. So I can't imagine whose job it is to tackle that, on even in a school-wide setting, let alone a district-wide setting, particularly a large urban area like Chicago. So it's easier to look at the scapegoating issue. It's easier to put a Band-Aid on something than to get all the way down to the root issue. You mentioned poverty, you mentioned funding, you mentioned lack of resources. Shout out to our boy B. Creamer. He was on with the Clear the Airwaves project when we were at a different station.
Right.
And he posted that today. He said guns plus people don't equate to murder. Guns plus people plus economic disparity plus lack of resources and some other things he named, genocidal kind of tactics. That is what hurts and kills people. Fear, prejudice, those things. You get I'm always the chick that's down with the police, but you get a cop who used to be bullied, and now you give him a little bit of power. Now he's telling Sandra Bland, I'm gonna light you up.
Right.
See, now I'm moving to the next
And that's
topic.
a
I don't
good
even know if
segue.
we were
That's a
right.
good segue.
All of these things, there are so many dynamics that go into why people do what they do.
Exactly.
It's very difficult to take, you know, one aspect and say, well, this is why. You know, just now I simplified it with the whole bully piece. We don't know why that man responded the way he did, but I know he lied on his report and he's out of a job.
Right.
Is that enough justice? Not
no.
according to Miss Bland's mom.
Not at all. And
She ain't
and
trying
I
to hear
was
it.
so glad to see her speak out yesterday, because when the charges were brought against Trooper Brian Encina the other day, you know, social media went crazy. Oh, they've indicted him. Then you find out they indicted him for perjury, which could lead to maybe a year in jail, but we know most likely he'll probably get a slap on the wrist.
Up to a $4,000 fine is
right,
what's being
a
reported.
slap on the wrist, and then it brings the question, okay, what happens? He wasn't there when she lost her life.
Right. But
You
his
know,
actions were
actions-
a mitigating factor.
Right.
Because if he had left that woman alone and let her challenge him, if she had been a white woman.
Gave her a warning.
If she had been a white woman questioning, why are you asking me to put out my cigarette? Why are you asking me to get out of my car? He wouldn't have even arrested her.
Right.
And that's just a fact, whether or not people believe it or not. I hear a lot of people on the other side say, black and white and other races say, well, if you're just respectful, listen.
I'm so sick of
It's so ridiculous. Think
If
back,
she would have just did what he said.
but she didn't have to. And as a citizen, as a black citizen, she did not have the opportunity to exercise her rights. If that had been my white cousin Jennifer, and I really do have a white cousin named Jennifer, real talk, she'd have went home cussing him out.
Right.
And that ain't even her
filing a
personality.
report the next day.
Thank you.
Maybe our show should have been called Differences, you know, but
Well, there are so many. We could do this
right.
all year.
And now we have the differences between the Oregon, what do they call them? Militiamen, and what's the other words they've called them this week? Militia.
They were militiamen. They were, in my mind, I keep hearing white supremacists, but that's not what they've been called. But I'm telling you, let that have been the Black Panthers.
Right. And you know how different they're being treated. Like, if you just look at the headlines for stories about what's going on with that standoff, one said
Concerned citizens.
The federal government is keeping a low-key role. Like, really?
Because they'd have burned the building down with me, you, the dog.
Right. And then they showed a
Burn
picture
everybody
last
in it.
year when there was a protest at the Mall of America, and the escalators at the mall were all full of hundreds of National Guardsmen and police officers. And Black Lives Matter protesters didn't have guns or anything.
Yeah, the difference is we are still viewed as 3/5 human, if that. And so if I come in and lose control, I'm the angry black woman.
Right.
If my white cousin Jennifer comes in and she does the same thing, she's tough. She just wanted him to understand. What? How come we said the same thing? And she's my cousin.
Exactly. Then today I read where the sheriff had one of the leading men of this militia group, and they went off for a little ride into the sunset so they could talk and try to come to some type of understanding. And
Now
I'm
let us go off on the
would
talk.
that have ever happened with us? It's
He
like,
got out and ran.
if
I
y'all
shot him.
don't stand down, we blowing y'all up. We know it would never been any discussion or any of that, and they're steady trying to work and negotiate and come to terms with these armed individuals, you know.
And that's the key right there. They're armed.
Armed. I'm going to keep saying armed.
Yeah, they're armed.
Militiamen.
Because you can be unarmed. You can have Skittles and a juice and end up not fulfilling your life goals, whatever they were. The difference is, you talked about differences. The difference is our youth are not allowed to make youthful mistakes. A trooper in, I lost my notes, but he has been put on administrative leave for posting on his social media page, teach your son not to play with BB guns. Excuse me? You thought that was appropriate to say out loud? Yes, you did. You know why? Because nothing ever. You can shoot the people and get away with it. Certainly, I can be on Facebook and say it. He patrols an area near where Tamir lost his life. And I believe he interacts with those particular school children. That's how you feel? Get out.
And that's who you chose to have interacting with.
But there's a reason for it. And whatever his reason is, I can't imagine that it's a positive reason. You understand what I'm saying? I think, again, if you don't respect the people you're charged with protecting, you don't see it as important to protect them completely. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Makes complete sense.
Yeah, it's like any kind of job. You know how you go to the hospital and you look at it, the doctors and the nurses are supposed to do their job to get my loved one or me healthy. Mm-hmm. But for them, they're at work. Mm-hmm. This person and this person, they don't have love for it. It has to be some kind of love for the work in order for me to do the job well. And like you said with the police officers, if they don't respect the people they're trying to protect, they're going to treat them any kind of way. Mm-hmm. So.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a good analogy. You can draw that with anything. There are always bad apples in any profession. Right. There are some teachers who I worked with, and I was like, for real, why don't you just quit? Really? Because your heart's not in it. You're disenchanted. You're treating these children rudely. You're making the entire class pay for the mistakes of 2 or 3 students. No, that's you burn out. It's time for you to go. There should be some sort of evaluation at every level, whether you're talking about educators, whether you're talking about doctors, whether you're talking about police officers. You think about. I just read a story the other day. Our boy Lloyd, shout out to Lloyd Austin, our guest producer from 2 weeks ago. Yeah. He posted a story about I believe he was in Michigan, don't quote me, but he was a cancer doctor who was diagnosing people with cancer and charging them for treatment, except they didn't have cancer. So some of these effects were, they're irreversible because it's chemotherapy, it's radiation. These are chemicals being introduced to your body. There will be effects, and so you gamble with the chemotherapy, you gamble with the radiation because you think, well, it's going to save my life, I can deal with these side effects. But for it to come out, your monkey self was diagnosing, are you kidding? And these people didn't have cancer? How incredibly and completely evil. And he should be injected with, I don't know how we got there, he should be injected with every chemical he's prescribed. He should get it too. I know I went right off.
No, it's funny. You went off, but I was watching.
I'm sure you feel better.
A cop show last night, and that was the cop show's theme.
It was based on that,
right?
Because he mentioned it.
And I just saw this last night, so it's funny. I'm like, it's art imitating life, huh?
Yeah, and then if you watch a lot of these stories on your Law and Order styled shows, then you'll see.
It was Chicago PD.
These kinds of things
last night. Yeah, it was Chicago.
Listen, they should leave him in a room with all these people's children for about an hour. Lock the door.
I think you're going to walk in, too.
Listen, I don't even know these people, but I can't imagine. My father was diagnosed with cancer. He beat it. There's an overwhelming fear initially. And with people of faith, there's a concern that, oh, my God, is he not going to make it? So to play on that and to go along and, oh, my
further treat their bodies and
horrible.
Expose them to other men.
I know people who ain't related to them. I know I went all in my ghetto vernacular. People who aren't related.
So
they would, I'm telling you, that bothers me. You don't bother vulnerable people. You don't bother people generally, but particularly vulnerable people. Babies, sick people, old people.
There's a lot of things you can play with.
Right.
Cancer is not one of them.
Go play in traffic.
Cancer
How about
has
that?
affected everybody in every way.
Oh my God.
So that's something we like to joke and all that kind of stuff. That's not something you joke about.
Right.
It's not. It's really
and to do what he did, wow.
Yeah, go stand right on the damn Ryan. Just stand there. That's probably not nice. I'm going to throw it to my co-host.
Bill Cosby.
How's that mad?
Bill Cosby.
But did I ever tell you my ultimate torture on somebody?
And what was that, Fred?
Wait a minute. Is the FBI listening?
Right. Like I always say, like if somebody messed with my kids or something.
Okay, that's valid.
Just take them, string them up, hold them up with a chain.
Ooh.
Cut them up with razor blades.
Drop them in alcohol. You my
knock them
cousin.
alcohol.
You are my cousin.
Jason Lewis.
Set them on fire.
Oh, okay. You took it
And
first.
then put the fire out. And just watch them.
Oh,
Just look at them.
yikes.
Like, how you doing? How your day going?
Probably not so good.
Sound like a mom here.
Where do you work again, Fred?
I work at the place where they cook fries.
He's Uncle Tommy.
And that's what I was going to say. All fry cooks ain't good either. You know what I'm saying? They don't get the fries out the grease like they supposed to. You know, and the way you dab the salt is different ways of, you know, because everybody like they salt evenly on their fries. And some people just dump it on one section of the fries. You know, everybody.
He's making this sound so eloquent.
I'm trying my best to. So, you know.
Shout out to the people on Periscope who are thoroughly confused. They're like,
From
what
organ
happened?
to fries.
What are you?
It's a viral mix.
Touche.
Yes, it is.
Bill Cosby.
Yeah, Bill Cosby.
Okay, so you have to start with the question: did he do any of what he's accused of? Thoughts?
You know, we've talked about this so many times before. And
Listen, I barely remember what I did the other day. I'm not sure what we said.
it's you know, we have two sides of this issue.
Absolutely.
You have all these women who have blamed him and accused him of rape. You're hearing stories where some of them said that there was one model that said she was paid to say that he did this to her. LA yesterday just decided not to file charges against the LA prosecutor decided not to file charges against Mr. Cosby. And then you have the group that said, oh, you know, he's a black man who's being sabotaged because he had big plans with a major network and this is their way of shooting him down. Then you have those that are advocate for women who have been raped. And I've always said that I don't know what happened. Of course, I wasn't there. However,
Sure.
I'm just real sensitive to women.
Yeah.
If they were indeed raped, that it's always being shot down, and this is an issue why so many women do not come forward. That's what I'm very concerned with. However, I'm intrigued by Mr. Cosby's attorney. If you've seen his attorney, Monique Presley.
Yeah, I would find
This
her if I
sister
needed
is bad.
Yes, sir.
Man.
And this is her first time ever having to work with a celebrity. And she's bad.
Howard graduate, former public defender. She is killing them.
Yeah, I'm
And
find
every
her. I don't need
question
no
they
legal
throw
help.
at her,
She's not a mental doctor, Fred. You probably don't.
every
know
question
her.
they throw at her, she's ready.
She
She is ready, and she eats them up. I see her as the new age Johnny Cochran, and if nothing else, we will see Monique Presley again.
Indeed. Yeah, she's out there killing them. She cut up the CNN reporter anchor the other day, and I just kind of giggled.
Did she get on Don Lemon? Lemon or whatever his name is.
I'm not
Lemon.
sure if she got to him
She
yet.
needs to get. We might need her to send her.
But here's my concern. I share the concerns you have. That women who have legitimately been victimized in whatever setting, whether it was by Mr. Cosby or anyone else, are being labeled as liars. I also believe maybe there's some truth to it. As like you know, I wasn't around. Maybe I didn't show up till 1976, so I don't even know when all this stuff began to happen. If he did any of it, under no circumstances did he do all of it. I just don't believe that a man in the 70s, a black man in the 70s, excuse me, let me be real clear.
I can understand that.
Rolled with all, no, he didn't. He didn't. Even as popular as Bill Cosby was with his wholesome and clean image, under no circumstances would someone who knew, because other people had to know. If this happened, there was a peripheral team that knew. So I'll go along with women not saying anything for fear that they will not be believed.
Right.
I get that. But the peripheral, particularly when he was out admonishing the black community for the way we kind of looked in the public eye, no way. Somebody would have jumped on that immediately.
Right.
Immediately. And I just don't believe it's everything. Now, reports are saying that right now they've delayed Camille Cosby's testimony before a grand jury, but sources are reporting
That she's upset.
they're not my sources, but I'm reading reports
That she's upset.
that she's upset that she had to be called, and she said I'm not saying that my husband, I'm paraphrasing, that my husband deserves jail time, but he deserves all of this.
This is his mess.
Mhm.
This is his
This
mess.
is his
And
mess.
I can understand.
And so if the reputation was there for you as a ladies' man,
Mhm.
it's easier for me. You've kind of handed them some of the ammunition, if that makes sense.
Right.
I used to tell my students that, and I tell my grown people that whatever you do, don't give them the ammunition. Now, if you screw up, you screw up. We're human. It happens.
Right.
But I ain't gonna hand
Don't
you nothing
hand
you
it
give
over
me.
on
Here,
a
this-
platter for
look,
them.
Look at me. I'm smoking crack. No, this is a bad idea.
Right.
Don't do don't do that. And so now you handed them on a silver platter
Right.
a gun and the proverbial silver bullets. If these rumors are true, if he was this big ladies' man or whatever, and I know that the deposition given in the civil trial is damning.
Mm-hmm.
He said he wanted to give them pills. He gave pills to women that he wanted to sleep with. Miss Presley said nobody said what those pills were. You don't know if they were aspirin. The anchor mentioned something about Quaaludes. She said those weren't on the market at the time this last victim alleged. I hollered laughing. I said, "Ooh, somebody ain't do their research."
And the lady that he's actually charged of raping,
They dropped it.
from Temple
Mm-hmm.
University.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in her report, she said that she visited his house several times. And it's like, why would you keep going to this married man's house? What did you think you were going to his home or wherever it was that they were meeting? I believe it was his home. But why would you continue to go meet up with this man you know he was married?
Right. Are you having dinner with him and Camille?
Those
No?
are the things that, kind of throws up a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's just too many. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that's not possible. I'm not
Right.
saying that.
Right.
I'm not saying that he's innocent. But I am saying that it's just kind of suspicious. There's a video of Michael Jackson, look it up, where he talks about, and it's related, don't worry, I'm not switching up again. He talks about
Why did
how,
you bring me up?
was that your really poor imitation of Michael's
Poor
ghost?
imitation.
I mean, incredibly poor.
Yeah.
You suck.
I couldn't grab myself and then do it. That part would be better.
TMI.
Continue, I'm sorry.
Lloyd, come get your boy. Like, I was speechless for a minute. Are you kidding? Are you kidding right now? Michael Jackson, on video, talked about how he made this bid to, when he purchased some Sony, when he either purchased some Sony Masters or purchased the Beatles Masters, all from Paul McCartney. First of all, they fell out, but then the second piece, he said they began to label me as unnatural. They began to label me as a homosexual and say that I was molesting children. And so it gives a little credence to the
All that he
conspiracy.
went through.
Yeah, it gives a little that, and it gives a little credence to what's going on with Mr. Cosby at the moment. Okay, if it's true that he was making this big bid to purchase NBC or put some positive programming out, and I wish we had brought on Clear the Airwaves today because they could talk to you about mass media and the destruction of the black community. We'll bring them back on. Definitely Kwabena and B. Creamer. I hope you're listening. It gives credence to the fact, okay, you about to do this positive piece. We can't have that because there's a reason we doing what we do. And, if everything that is being stated is to be believed as far as the way our communities are being targeted, whether it be in the 80s, the 70s, the cigarette sign, the 80s, the liquor signs, the 90s, the starter jackets and the Jordans and all these things that mean nothing. You talk to kids today. Who's the basketball star who has a pair of gym shoes that are incredibly inexpensive? I can't call his name, but Marbury. His shoes come off the same line that the Jordan shoes come off of. They not $30, and they're $2-3 to make. I remember hearing students debate about, are you wearing such and such, and I'm wearing these, and man, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm like, well, if you paid $100 for them shoes and they only cost $3 to make, which one of the two of you is the sucker? And give me my homework. How about that? Exactly. So somebody is getting over, and it's not you. So when you begin to materialize things, when you begin to pump drugs into the community, because we don't fly airplanes, we don't own that. That's not what we have. When you begin, what about recently when the let's see, what was it? the train car was robbed or stopped or stalled, and all of these guns were just suddenly like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? Please
Right
don't
in the
tinkle
heart
on
of
me.
Inglewood.
Please don't tinkle on me and say it's raining. I know the difference. I can smell it. Are you kidding? So, it's that whole, there is a systematic piece. Now there's the flip where, okay, now we see these tactics. When you going to stop going for the okie doke?
Right.
So, yeah, there's another component to that. I get that. But I guess with the systematic piece, it's not far-fetched to believe what Mike said. It's not far-fetched to believe what people are alleging about Mr. Cosby. It's important to note that he has not said that. He has not said, well, they after me because I decided to do
right.
it.
And that's what I was hoping someone would come forth and say, this was the deal. This was the makeup of the deal. This was the plan.
Right.
No one, we know NBC will not say it, but I was hoping that he would, and we're just not getting that.
Yeah, this is my ultimate question with this whole thing. We don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But say, just for argument's sake, because I don't put nothing past nobody. Whoever you are, you can do anything.
That's right.
But say, for argument's sake, it was one woman that he raped back in the 70s. What should happen to him now? What kind of punishment should he receive now if it was proven that it was done?
Was that a part of the issue why LA said they couldn't move forward with their charges, that the statute of limitations were over?
If he did that, he should be left in the room with her son. I mean, I'm all for vigilante justice. That's what should happen. Real talk. Because you take something that's the essence of me away. Yeah, I want my cousins to get hold of you. Real talk. I don't know. We've got to pay a bill, and we pay that bill to let you know that our first half hour of Vibrant Mix with Tasha, Tamiko, and Fred has been brought to you by T-Shots. Contact Tasha at T-Shots for all of your adult beverage needs. Fred, your band. Tasty Jell-O shots in all your favorite flavors. Pudding shots and flavors like eggnog, cinnamon toast crunch, white chocolate caramel, cookies and cream is my favorite. Sangrias in flavors such as strawberry lemonade, pineapple watermelon, and pineapple pomegranate. Oh my God.
What she say?
Yeah,
right.
they're in my freezer. Contact Tasha at TashaJelloShots at gmail.com. That's TASHA, Jello Shots with an S at gmail.com today. The samples are in my freezer. She left us some. If you recall, when we turned a year old, she was one of our vendor donors.
Okay, so what time
Been
you
holding
going home?
out
I'm
on
going home
us.
right after work. Really? That's how. Okay, come on over and get your pudding shots and remove my TV from the wall so I can connect that. Yeah, you thought I forgot?
Yeah, Bill
come on.
Cosby and pudding shots.
Oh, I did not see the correlation
Sorry.
initially.
Sorry,
And Jello.
And sex. Okay.
I'm not
Move
sure.
on.
Yeah. Wow. So we have a special in-studio guest who probably is wondering why she allowed herself to be dragged into
And subject her daughter to this.
Listen, Kimmy, you know Auntie Tasha has been crazy since you've been a baby. She's like, yeah, so.
I still love you anyway, T.
Yeah, I love you too, sweetie. Oh my God, Lord. We have our girl Kim here from Daddy's Girls Inc. And on the Vibrant Mix, we always talk about how we can be the people, each one teach one. Mentoring, mentoring both young men, young women. And so Tracy Hayes is here to talk about her organization. Yay, Tracy. Hey, welcome to the show. So talk to our listeners about Daddy's Girl Inc. What do you do? How did it come to be? Give us everything.
Well, Daddy's Girl Inc. came about when I noticed that my daughter was traveling down a path that was similar to the one that I traveled down as a kid, and I didn't like it. And I knew that I could not allow her to suffer as I had suffered as a kid with low self-esteem, being bullied, and things like that. She was being bullied at school, and she was, just not fitting in with the kids, and everybody was making fun of her and things like that. And I'm like, you know what? You got to do something about this.
Auntie Tasha is getting angry here.
I know. I see your face. So, and what can I do? I've always been a positive type person, motivator. I work in the criminal justice system, and I deal with people on a regular basis. And my thing was, what can I do? What else can I do to contribute to society to help people understand who they are, what they can do, and how good they can be? in the world. Ergo, Daddy's Girl Inc. Daddy's Girl Inc. reflects my relationship with my father, my biological father, and my Father in heaven. The connection that a father has with his daughter ultimately creates who she is as a woman, you know, in the world. My daddy was a great guy. He passed away 10 years ago. He was a great guy. And even though I did suffer from self-esteem issues and things like that, it wasn't because he didn't love me and he didn't show me love. It wasn't that. I let the world tell me that I was ugly, I was fat, and I was this and I was that. And it took a great toll on me. So it took me a minute. I want to say I was probably almost 30 years old before I recognized how wonderful I was. And it's crazy because my family loved me. I had a great childhood, great family support, did great in school. My life was good, but I didn't feel good about myself. And when I noticed that that was happening with my daughter, it scared me. So there was something that I felt that I wasn't doing that I needed to do.
Okay.
So when I started Daddy's Girl Inc., I had in mind, we got to get these girls together, because if you look at TV, we see what's happening with Atlanta Housewives and all of these reality shows and all of these things that portray women as thoughts and just bad portrayals. That's not who we are. That just sells on TV.
Right.
The real women need to stand up. And so also working in the criminal justice system, I see it every single day. Low self-esteem. Women do things for men. And I mean, just all kind of crazy stuff. I'm like, no, we can't do this. So what I wanted to do was create a program to highlight all of the wonderful things that who women are, the things that we do, how we can change the world, the motivating factors that we have to support our men, and all those things. So, I mean, I love what I do, because when I see a little girl recognize how beautiful she is, that's like the best thing in the world, because oftentimes they don't see it, they don't hear it, you know, and when that one person says, you know what, you can do this, you can do whatever you want to do, you can go wherever you want to go, then you spark something in them, because a lot of times they are not told. They're stuck in this square and don't understand that, baby, you can step out of that square. This world is big. You know what I'm saying? There are so many little girls who've never left their block, let alone come downtown, you know, or left out of the state of Illinois, you know, or whatever state that they reside in. But my purpose is to motivate and mentor. I'm always talking. Everybody that I can reach, I'm going to reach. You know what I'm saying? Because our generation is dying. They're dying. And we need them not to die. So that comes from people like you and me and everybody in this room, letting people know that you can do this. This is not it. What you see on TV is not it.
Yeah.
Life is much better. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't recognize that life is better, because what you see is what you get. Well, I can't go anywhere. The white man did this. My mama left me. My daddy's a crackhead. Blah, 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 blah. Excuse after excuse after excuse. But the excuses have to stop, because when are you going to say, you know what? This is not me. I'm better than this. I'm bigger than this. And that takes somebody like me who says, come on, let me show you how you can do this. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody like you, or Fred, or you, Tasha, you know, you can do this. You know what I'm saying? I used to be this. I did this. Let me point you into the direction of someone who can help you, who can show you what it is that you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You have to love people.
Yeah.
I'm about humanity. Because we all got to live here together. We all have to be together and function. And if you're not right, guess what? I'm not right. I don't care how rich you are, how poor you are, what kind of job you have, education. If we are in this together, we're in this together. Everybody's lives matter. You know what I'm saying, as far as I'm concerned. Black lives matter, white lives matter, everybody. I'm about humanity. I'm not about hurting people and killing people and being unjust and uncivil. That's not what I'm about. I'm about, we all got to be here, so we all need to survive together. And that's ultimately who I am and what I want to do. You know, I'm like this activist. Everybody got to get along. We have to. You know what I'm saying? We can't survive without it. You know, so
I feel like I should write a check.
Right.
Yeah,
Where do I sign up? Where do I sign up?
Well,
Now, I participated in an event with you a while back. I know you do it yearly. I haven't been able to participate since. It's a workshop for young ladies. Was that?
it was a job and educational fair. Last year, I was not able to do the event like I had done the previous 2 years, but what I wanted to do was, well, what I did was I had people in particular fields, and then I had also schools, people coming from colleges and things like that, and they were just sitting and talking to people, the kids and everything, letting them know, hey, this is what you need to have to get this. What do you want to do? I mean, I had teachers and media people and authors. I mean, I had everybody, doctors and all kind of people out here. And I mean, it was a huge hit because kids were like, we need this, and I didn't have as many kids as I wanted there. But the kids that I had, I made a difference. I impacted somebody. That's what I want to do. As long as I can impact one person, I'm doing my job. Because I know we got to dig deep. Because we have a generation and a history of, I'm sorry to say, failing children. We failed our kids.
And a lot of times it's a big divide.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, you hit on something, if I make it, if Tasha make it, Fred make it, reach back and help someone.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's someone in your own family.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're dealing with an older generation who wants to portray this perfect act.
Mm.
Like they've never been through anything.
Mm-hmm.
And when kids try to scream out for some type of attention, which is usually a cry for help, well, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing, I got this, I got that. Which, be real with these kids.
Did you forget?
Be real with the kids.
That's
Say
it right
that,
there.
Be real and say, I was young. I did some stupid things. They need to hear that.
Yeah.
Instead of portraying that role that you've been perfect all your life. And then the kids,
There's no connection.
it's a shell. They go into a shell and they don't feel like they can confide in anyone. And to me, it's a serious divide. And I just think adults need to come off their high horse, keep it real with these kids, and say, hey, I made some mistakes. This is what I did. And you too can come out of that. But we're not getting that. And we're just as much to blame for it as the youth who are lost.
Yeah, because they're lost because no path has been laid.
Absolutely.
No path has been laid. People have gotten, like you say, in their arrogant space, and a lot of times we like to point the finger at what children or even other adults aren't doing to mask what it is we aren't doing.
Right.
Let's deflect. Well, you ain't do this. You ever been in an argument with someone and you say, well, friend, can you do X, Y, Z? Well, you ain't done such and such. Okay, yeah, but that's not what we were talking about at the moment. Can you focus? We'll come back to me.
Right.
But in this moment, I'm trying to get you here. Maybe this is my strength, and then you can help me. It's the same. It's the same thing with our children. You're right. Both of you ladies, you can't portray perfection because then that's too high of a standard for anybody to try to reach.
And it's not true.
Exactly.
It's not true. We've all made mistakes. We've all been in bad spots. I mean, a lot of times, I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, and every day I post something motivational on my personal page and on Daddy's Girl Inc.'s page. But I told her, I said, there are certain seasons in my life when I'm posting those things and I'm crying because I'm in a bad spot. My back is against the wall and I don't know what's going to happen. But in my mind, even through my turmoil, I got to pull out of it because somebody needs me to be okay. So while I'm motivating somebody else, I'm healing myself. And that's the picture that I want to paint, creating space. I say that all the time. You have to create space for a healthy and happy life, even when your space is jacked up. You know what I'm saying? You have to try to create that healthy space because somebody needs you. Somebody needs your experience. Somebody needs you to say something. They need to see what you're doing or what you came out of so that they can create a healthy space. And that's so important to me because nobody is perfect. And, I got so caught up and afraid that I couldn't share and help somebody because my life wasn't the way I needed it to be. And absolutely was that a falsehood, because that's when I'm supposed to come out fighting, because that's what they need to see. They need to see me crying and snotting. I was on my way here, and I'm like, I know this city like the back of my hand. How come I can't find this building? The enemy was on my back. I started crying. My daughter was like, Mommy, please calm down. You're going to get there. I'm like, Tasha's going to kill me because I'm late. She's going to think I'm irresponsible. And I'm like, oh, my God, you know. But guess what? I survived it, and I'm here, and I'm talking, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
So I had to use that to kind of motivate me to say, you know what, it's a mistake. You're not doing it on purpose. It doesn't say anything about your character.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just a mistake, clearly. So Daddy's Girl Inc., I want it to be on the map. I want people to know that creating a healthy space for yourself is the most important thing that you can do. Because you need to be okay so that somebody else can be okay. And you can do it.
That's great. How do people, give me some suggestions, some examples for the listeners to create that healthy space?
Well, surrounding yourself with people who motivate and love you.
I was about to say accountability.
Mm-hmm.
That right there.
Mm-hmm. Having people around you that are going to say, you know what, that was bogus. And be clear. You know, you screwed that up. But let me,
Fred, this is why I'm hard on you. I love you so much.
Let me offer you some suggestions, or let me point you in a direction that I think may help you the next time. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. Cleaning up your house, cleaning up your space, literally. Because when you live in clutter, you think in clutter. You can't concentrate, you can't focus. So you need to get rid of some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Get the old stuff out of the way so you can bring some new stuff. You know what I'm saying? Meditation, exercising, eating right. All of those things help you to create a healthy space.
But I wanted a burger after that.
You can have a burger. There's nothing wrong with a burger.
So not 3 of them?
No, not 3, just 1.
I was just kidding.
What do you have coming up in 2016?
Well, I figured out that I couldn't do this task by myself. I was trying to do this all alone. And what I said was, you know what, if I want to put this on the map and I really want to help some people, I need to create a team. And after much prayer and all of that stuff and thinking and meditation, I'm creating my team. And we are going to do some fantastic things in terms of focus groups for young ladies, talking about different topics that plague, you know, our young ladies in our society today. I am in the process of writing a book and talking about generational curses and topics and things that mothers and daughters face, and how we either deal with them or we don't, and how it affects how we live. So I'm going to interview some mothers and daughters, and we're going to put this collaboration together, and I'm going to come out with this. And it's not to make money, but it's just to shed some light on some things, and maybe it will help somebody. You know, somebody needs to see that. Somebody needs to know that they're not the only one who was sexually assaulted when they were a kid, or that they had problems with drugs, or that they have a history of not trusting men in their family, so they don't get married. So you have these generations of strong-willed women who push men away because they feel like they can't trust men. All of these topics plague all of us. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But we need to figure out how we can deal with them in a manner that's healthy. You know, because a lot of times we deal with them and they're unhealthy. So that's another one of my topics. But and I also want to start a program with my daughter. My daughter has a lot of ideas, and I really want to start a bullying campaign, because she was bullied as a kid and I was bullied as a kid. So I want to start a huge bullying campaign with adults, because a lot of adults don't realize that they're bullies. Huge bullies.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, they don't realize it.
I'm not going to say no name. I'm not going to say no name.
You know, being strong-willed and having, you know, your opinion and all of that stuff is okay. But when you really try to force yourself and your thoughts and your opinions, and you try to coerce other people to do things based on what you say, that makes you a bully.
I agree with that. Well, what you trying to say, Fred? What do you mean?
No, I didn't say anything. I was just all I'm saying is I'm not gonna say no names. It's just the first name that comes up on the moniker of a vibrant mix. That's all I'm gonna say.
There's nobody on the show named A. What do you mean?
The first name after a vibrant mix with the 3 people who's on. The first name that pops up.
See, is it bullying if
That's
I
all
shut
I'm
his mic off? Is that what happens? No,
That's what it's called. Yeah.
then I won't. I love Fred. It's just, he likes to walk in 30 seconds before the show starts and scare me to death. How can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter, at Daddy's Girl Inc. I do a Fundamental Fact Friday, every Friday at 7:30 in the morning on Periscope at Daddy's Girl.
Yay, Periscope.
I know, right? I'm on Facebook, Daddy's Girl Inc. My phone number is 312-646-0945 if you want to call me and get some life coaching and talk to me about some things. But Daddy's Girl is going to really come out in 2016 because we need it. We need to be out here, and I need to walk in my purpose, and my purpose is running my mouth trying to get folks to understand that they can be all they want to be and some. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I love it. I love it. Daddy's Girl Inc. Tracy Hayes, thank you for coming to the studio with us. We hope you stick around for the last almost 7 minutes of the show, because Fred had an interesting question of the week, and he asked it this week, and I was screaming, laughing. Go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, I had a discussion over the New Year's Eve holiday festivities, while drinking. And
That's why you can't have no more
right.
shots.
And we were talking about, men and women cheating. And most of the women in the room said, well, men cheat more than women. And the men said, no, women cheat just as much. And my thing was, well, who are the men cheating with? That y'all say,
right.
Who is cheating? Now, obviously, we're not condoning cheating, but we're having a discussion. So the question was, do you think married women cheat just as much as men?
What were your thoughts, Fred?
My thoughts is yes.
Okay.
There are a lot of women, who are...
He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Why you sound like James Brown, though?
A lot of women who are, have companions, married, however you want to put it. And they're out here, doing their thing. Okay. And a lot of the men who were discussing it was like, different women they've gotten with.
Tamiko's face though. Go ahead.
They have a man when they get together with them.
Okay.
That's the stuff that, you go on from there. I'm trying to be as clean as I can.
Yeah, butter and jelly.
Right.
Wow.
But, I say yes.
You say yes. I think it's probably equal. I agree with that. I think it's probably equal because, like you said, you're cheating, you need a partner unless you jumped onto the other team. If that's your thing, fine. But you're right. Somebody needs somebody to get down with. Really? That's where you are this evening?
That's what hit in my mind. I'm sorry.
I don't think so I was talking with someone the other day, and we talked about the reasons why people cheat. And generally speaking, of course, this is not an absolute truth, but generally speaking, women cheat because of an emotional void. Now, some people are just
raunchy.
It rhymes with rose. Some of them are just that. Some men are just that.
Right.
But sometimes there's something missing. And particularly if you've been asking for the attention, whether you've been verbally asking, whether you've been dropping hints, whether you've been saying, hey, look, your friend's sexy, you better take me out. Whatever you need to do to get your partner's attention, if it goes unchecked for a while. But the same is true with men.
Yeah,
you all need what you need, whatever that is, in your particular relationship. And if it's not being met, especially if you've been asking and you've been saying, wife, partner, lover, I need A, B, and C, and she like, I'm gonna cook these grits though, and that's not what you had said. That's not what you were.
And a lot of times it changes from the fire truck. Sometimes it changes, from the beginning relationship where everything was hunky dory, attention was paid, and all he knew was her.
Right.
And now you know, now we got some years into it and nothing.
Do you think life just gets involved, or do you think people get
think
lazy?
sometimes
or
life gets involved. You change, you work more, you're more tired, and you don't realize.
Yeah.
You know, and then sometimes it's communicated, and sometimes it's not. And even when it is communicated, the other person isn't listening. They feel like, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Like, take from a man's standpoint, I'm going to work every day. I'm providing for the household. I'm working 12 to 14 hours a day. When I come home, I'm tired. You know, we trying to make ends meet. We can't go out as much as we used to,
right.
as much as you want to. So from his standpoint, he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he's not taking care of his woman.
Mm-hmm. Emotionally.
Right. So from her standpoint, not to say it's the typical woman, but you know, she's
Generally
speaking, she's like, okay, I need that attention's going to come from somewhere else. And sometimes she don't even realize that she's getting that attention and liking that attention, and it's really festering up in her. And then things go on, and you down at the Aura on, Cicero. So
You at the who?
The Aura.
So I'm just saying.
I'll tell you about it off air.
Yeah.
Really, Fred?
Yeah, but you know.
Let that go.
Hold on, let me Tamika, but she know about it. But anyway.
Your mama know about it. Go ahead.
But and like I said, it happens both ways. Men just aren't scum buckets that look at everything physical and I got to hit it.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they don't get what they supposed to do. Hopefully that's Rahm Emanuel getting from the city hall right now.
Dog, Fred.
I'm
You
sorry, I
I said, we didn't get on that, and that's next week.
Yeah,
Right.
There's more. I told you.
That's the whole show.
That's the whole show. Right
Oh, wrong. That's the whole show.
It's a myriad of factors, and like I said, we're not condoning cheating on your mate.
Did you hear him say myriad though?
You like that?
He
You like
pulled
that?
from his
I've been using that.
I think Fred coming with some words.
Listeners, Fred and I went to the greatest high school in the world. No offense to anyone else. No offense, but I got the mic controls. And but Fred likes to ask me all the time, what that mean when I use a word. And so
just like you just got through talking big words when in your discussions. And I'm like, oh, hey, girl.
My parents mortgaged the house for that degree. I need to use that vocabulary regularly.
Yes, sir.
I think it's important to know why things are done, and then you have to do what's best for you. When people are honest and open, I think sometimes people fear the conversation. They fear the conversation. They don't want to talk about it, and they just kind of hope the status quo works until you come in and find. Have y'all seen that crazy A video where the man walks in on his wife cheating and he's incredibly calm? Look it up on Facebook.
I saw it.
Oh my God, he's so calm. He was like,
next week.
He was like, we don't have no problem.
He did that on purpose.
Yeah, but still,
He did that.
yeah, that's probably a bit much. So we want to thank you, Tracy, for being a part of the show tonight. Yeah, that's too much. That's just too much. A Vibrant Mix with Sasha Tamiko and Fred here on Windy City Underground. Your music, your station. Follow us at A Vibrant Mix on all social media outlets, and follow Windy City Underground at Windy City UG. We'll be back next week with some special musical guests. And we'll tell you who they are. You have to watch the page. We'll tell you who they are. Tamiko's like, you ain't tell me.
Right.
It's not an audition. Relax. So, 7 o'clock Central here on WindyCityUnderground.com. I'll catch y'all later. Bye-bye.